Okay, I had to drag this thing out of the shop with my tractor, and it fell off the jack and damaged the front end, but I've got that other nose sitting out here that's exactly like this one, and it's in pristine condition. So the only thing to do is just rebuild this truck, right? I mean, make it better than it ever was. That's the only option, but it's going to take some money and some time. I'll probably have to sell a couple of vehicles to get the money together to redo everything. I'll have to buy all new suspension parts and airbags and plumbing and carburetors and the whole deal. My money tree is not producing real well, so yeah, I might have to sell a couple things, but there's so much of myself in this rig. I don't want to leave it like this. I can't stand it. I just couldn't stood it. So in the meantime, I just drug it out back and covered it up because I don't want to look at it. And I had to borrow my neighbor's tractor to do that because mine won't maneuver it. This thing's pretty heavy. Anyway, I think that's the plan. Maybe this winter I'll drag it in and start tearing into it. We'll see what happens. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Waylon Myers Old Iron. Hey, did you see my upholstery here? Check it out. I had a little material left over. Still got enough left for a bikini and a necktie, so I should be in pretty good shape. Okay, what happened? As you recall in my last video, I got the Dojelac out and was getting ready to clean it up and go through it and start driving it. And I took it for a little test drive and was not, it had an intermittent problem. It was cutting out. But I got it back to the shop and checked it out, and the fuel pump was not working all the time. Well, I thought, I don't know, I tested the power to the pump. It had power, but it was not pumping. Okay, so I thought, well, that's a pump component that I need to replace. No big deal, and I rigged up a temporary fuel pump, just ran it in a gas can, and so I could get it in the shop here, and I did that, and well, I had it on the lift and was just going to start going through things. I had a few things I wanted to do, and Noah was supposed to come up that day and bring his brat. We were going to, I think, put brakes, new brake pads on the front, rotors and pads. So I went to start up the Dojelac to air up the bags. There was not quite enough air in the tank to air the bags up all the way, and you have to have them aired up all the way to get the lift arms out from under it. So I got in to start it, and when I hit the key and turned over a couple times, all of a sudden, poof, there was flames coming up around the engine. I mean, I jumped out. I didn't turn anything off. I didn't do anything. I jumped out and grabbed fire extinguisher. And when that thing slammed all the way down, you can't really see underneath it. And I didn't exactly see the source of the fire, but it was mostly on the passenger side of the engine. So that's where I concentrated with the fire extinguisher, but it didn't put the fire out. And I ran out back and got another fire extinguisher. And I'm talking about the big ones. And I used all that up and still couldn't put the fire out. And the only thing I had left to do was, there was a bucket here, big, I don't know, 2-gallon bucket, I guess. But my water runs pretty slow here in the shop. So by the time I could get a bucket of water and dump on that fire, the flames would be back up 14 feet to the very top of the highest point in my shop, because that's about where the nose, the engine was in relation to the building. And those flames would be licking the rafters up there. And it was scary. So I kept dumping water on it. I'd knock it back down, and by the time I could get another bucket of water, the flames were right back up. And boy, yeah, that's what's going on. So in all the chaos and the panic and actually the fear of losing my shop, I thought it was going to burn down. And I would have had to just stand out here and watch it burn, because by the time the fire department could find this place, and it'd be gone. GPS kind of leads people astray up here sometimes. They have trouble finding this place. But anyway, somehow in all the panic and chaos, it dawned on me that stinking fuel pump kicked on. The one that wasn't working is now working. So it's now just dumping gas on the fire. Well, I don't know if you've ever tried to put out a fire with water, but it doesn't work very well. It just spreads it. Where the water runs, it just carries the gasoline. So that was kind of a scary deal. And my 8-foot by 8-foot shell sign that came from a gas station, me and Anacortes Bob, man, we spent 8 hours putting that thing up. Well, it was just melting, and I was breathing all these fumes from that plastic, and it was kind of a rough deal. But anyway, during all this, somehow in this chaos, I had the presence of mind, and I thought, as that stinking fuel pump kicked on, and I ran and grabbed the battery cable and yanked it and got the fuel pump shut down, and then I got the fire put out. Then I went outside and threw up. I don't know if it was from the fumes or if I was just sick about the whole thing. I'm not ashamed to tell you, I took it pretty hard, because I spent 5 years building that that truck. There's a whole lot of myself in that build, and just the character of it, and that's a Wayland Wire only. Nobody else would build one that looked like that. Exactly. I don't take very many cues from other people when I'm building, because I want it, right or wrong, I want it to all come out of this brain up here. So that's just what I do, and I like this thing. So yeah, I got it put out and called the insurance company, and of course they wouldn't cover the rig. I didn't have insurance specifically on it because I hadn't been driving it for a couple of years. But I will now. I'll have collector insurance on everything. I should have had. I don't know, I just never thought about it. But anyway, of course they wouldn't cover anything. I thought maybe because it was in the shop that my shop insurance might cover it, but nah. And there was not enough damage really to the shop. It burnt the wiring going to 3 of my lights up there. It burned up my insulation, kind of melted a lot of the insulation. But it was not enough to file a claim. It probably cost more than it would for the deductible, or less to fix the lights than what the deductible would cost. But anyway, the old saying where I grew up, they used to say, well, it just knocked the wind out of my sails, and maybe some of you know what that means, but it just, like I said, I took it pretty hard. I beat myself up really bad because I didn't unhook that fuel pump. I should have disconnected it when I found it was faulty. The spark, there must have been a spark on the starter. I don't feel bad about that. Happens. That's happened to you guys too. Some of you, I know it has, But I really beat myself up about not unhooking that fuel pump. So if any, I've been around, YouTube a long time, and pretty much since the birth of YouTube. You got to remember, I've been here about 17 years. So I know how YouTube works, and there's going to be some comments. And if you guys want to beat me up in the comments, you go right ahead, because you can't do a better job than I've already done. Beat myself up, I guarantee. Now, and then I'd beat myself up for beating myself up, and then I'd go, how dare you feel bad, Ken? You've got it so good compared to so many people, and you have such a blessed life, and you got to get your priorities straight. But all that beating myself up and then beating myself up for beating myself up, and it's just a downward spiral into a deep depression. For me, I've always my highs are high and my lows are real low, and that's just how I'm built, and I can't apologize for that. I had nothing to do with how I'm built. So anyway, I just didn't feel like making videos for a while. It just, like I said, knocked the wind out of my sails. I just, I don't know, every time I think about it, I go, just not in the mood, So, yeah, I've been around here a long time, and over the years, there's been quite a few people that have told me that they enjoy these silly little old videos that I make. And I'm going to tell you about one of those guys. So anyway, because of that, because of, it's always been my hobby, and I've always really enjoyed it. And because of the people that have told me that they enjoy them, maybe I should keep doing it. You can let me know in the comments, because I tell you the truth, the voices in my head were saying, Ken, you're too stupid to work on cars, and you need to just quit. That's really where I was at in the beginning. So that may be true, but if that's true, that's been true all along. So that never stopped me before. Anyway, because of this YouTube thing, I met some wonderful people, and my life is better because of it, I would say. And I met one of those good people, and I don't want this video to be all about doom and gloom, so I'm going to tell you about one of those wonderful people that I met. There's a guy on Instagram. His name is Mason. I don't know his last name, but he contacted me, and he said his friend really had some stuff he wanted me to have. He wanted to bring me some things. And I go, oh boy, okay, well, I'll give him a call, and His name is Webb, Mr. Webb Rhodes. He lives over on the other side of Puget Sound, I believe. Yeah, somewhere around Bremerton. I think he works in Bremerton in the shipyard and retired. And I'm not going to, get too much into his health issues. That's his story, not mine. Not my place to tell him. But he went to a great effort to come and see me, and it really meant a lot to me. And Webb, if you're watching this. By the way, I never heard that name Webb other than Webb Pierce. That's the only place I ever heard that name. Maybe you're named after him. You can let me know. But, yeah, he showed up here, and we had a good visit. And he's just a really, really wonderful gentleman. And, oh, what do you see what he brought me? He brought me all kinds of things. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And... and then we'll end this video. And I've got lots to do. I've got lots of projects coming up, so I'll probably kick the camera on, and you can let me know in the comments if you want me to keep making these videos. And I think I want to keep making them. I think I do. I think if I just so out of practice, I was a little bit nervous about sitting down here in front of the camera, and that's not like old Waylon. I've never been nervous about doing these videos, but it's been a long time. So here we are, and I'm back, and I'm okay. I hadn't been on YouTube. I hadn't looked at YouTube much. I couldn't even watch my regular guys that I love to watch on YouTube, my car guys. I couldn't even watch in the beginning because I just didn't even want to think about it. And I hadn't told very many people about what happened because I just didn't want to tell the story again. And I'm glad the camera wasn't going because I don't want to relive it. And I keep thinking about old Brent, his channel, YouTube channel, Half-Ass Custom. If you've not watched him, go watch him. You need to. Boy, what an inspiration he is to me and to a lot of other people, because he had been on a trip down into Texas, I think, to a car event, and on his way home, he reached out to me and asked me what state I was in. He didn't remember exactly where I was at, and I think he thought if he was close enough, we could get together. And oh, that would have been great. I hope to meet him someday. But yeah, he got a hold of me, and then I think it was the next day. He was on his way home from that event. I think it was the next day he got the phone call that his shop had burned down. And Brent, you're such an inspiration to me, man, because you took it all in stride, and I know how devastating that must have been, and my heart just ached for the guy when I heard that, because what I thought about was what a horrible trip that must have been from Colorado all the way home, or from when they heard the news all the way home, knowing what they were going to face when they got home. And, and I think about George, the Shade Tree Fix-It man. Last year, he lost a vehicle. And last year, my little red truck burned up. I don't know what I'll burn up next year. I'm going to just get a little toy car and set it on fire and get that out of the way for next year. But, yeah, Brent, I hope the insurance company does you well, and I hope that you are able to build a shop that's beyond your greatest dreams, and you deserve it. What a guy. So yeah, he took it a lot better than I did, and he had a much greater loss. Oh, I just can't imagine losing the whole shop and everything in it. So he's the man. I draw a lot from him and his attitude, and he's still laughing. And well, I am too now. I had too much laughing for a while, but I'm pretty old, so I've had life knock me down quite a few times, and when that happens, I always work on my gratitude list. So many things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that Brent and there was, he's safe and he wasn't there when it happened, and his animals are safe, and his wife and family, and I'm glad that I'm safe. I was breathing those fumes and fighting fire, and it wasn't going well. And you know, I don't know. I suppose things could have gone worse. You know, I could have blacked out or something and been in here when it finally went up in flames, but that didn't happen. And I got a lot of good things in my life, and I've got a little 2-year-old grandbaby that oh, it's just a thrill. And all my other grandkids and my family means so much to me. And so I wasn't hurt, and the building's still here. And when I told my son, I told this story to the twins, the little twins, my little buddies. I told this story to their folks about when I told my son about the Doge light burning up. And he says, well, you can have the engine out of my S10. And some of you have been around here a while, you know that, well, he turned, what, 35 or 36 yesterday? I don't know, something like that. I'd have to add it up. I might have to take my shoes off and count my toes to get it all figured out. He was born in 86, so whatever that is. But when he was 17, he and I built a 327 engine and put in that little S10 pickup. And we built a memory that'll last both of us, you know, for the rest of our lives. So he offered me the engine out of his little S10 pickup. And I told my friends, I said, he would be totally embarrassed if he knew that made me emotional. That what a heart, you know, that he offered me the engine out of his truck. And I wouldn't take his engine, you know, I wouldn't do that. But very, very high on my gratitude list is that I have a son with that kind of heart, you know. So that's good stuff. And I got a lot of good stuff in my life, and there's more good stuff coming. And I really appreciate all of you, my subscribers, because I just felt like I'm doing this video because I wasn't really in the mood, but now I'm glad I've done it because you guys deserve to know what happened, and you guys deserve to know that I'm okay. There's, like I said, I hadn't been on YouTube much, and then I went on a couple days ago, and I saw quite a few comments that people were concerned about me and hoping I'm okay, and some of them think I'm grafting and because I haven't put up videos, but I was done grafting in March. But anyway, I'm okay, guys, and thank you so much for your concerns and for reaching out. And I got a beautiful letter, beautiful email from Dustin. I think Dustin, I don't know if it's Serene, I'm not sure how to pronounce. I'd have to see the email. I'm not very observant, so if I butchered your name, I'm sorry, but a beautiful letter, email he sent to me, and then I know that there's been people reaching out to Mr. Heavy Chevy because they know we're friends and bugging him about his way to wire okay, you know, and so I'm gonna get everybody off of his back with this video, and yeah, and our Peak too, people have been bugging him, and I don't think I even told him what happened, but he knows I've been kind of absent. But anyway. Yeah, let's end this on a positive note and take a look at the stuff Webb Roads brought to me. Good stuff. All right. One thing Webb brought me was steering column, and on my red truck, the one that burnt last year, I got it almost back on the road, except for, well, it's unrelated to the fire, but inside the switch. Behind that tumbler, when you turn the switch, there's a little plastic gear back there, and it runs a rod down through the steering column, and that's what starts it. And that little gear stripped a couple teeth, and you got to take the column all apart to get to it. You can't just take that tumbler out and get to it. You got to disassemble the whole thing. And well, it's easier to just swap out the steering column. And I didn't have the right one, and I kind of wanted an original one, and well, that's the very one right there. That's the one I needed. I don't need that stick shift on there. But it's got keys and everything, so that's going to be coming up. I'm getting ready to do that. I've got to get that truck on the road. Let's see here. He brought me a whole bunch of wire for wiring tail lights, heavy duty wire for wiring tail lights on the Dirty Dozen. And there's this, and then I can't do this with one hand. Bear with me. This says flats and shapes. Look in here. Look at the metal. My goodness gracious. Look at all that. It's enough metal to last me the rest of my life and part of yours. Brought me these bags full of goodies. Man, there's cut off wheels, grinding wheels, and a bunch of magnets. Oh, look at this. All these blades. That's the money there. Man, look at this. I've shared some of this with a couple of people because he brought me such an abundance. I'm gonna take you out back. There's something out there pretty cool. He had this thing full of metal. Look at all this. 1x2 pieces. There's square 2x2s down there. There's some round stock. Now, he had this in the back of the truck, and my tractor wouldn't pick it up. I had to unload half of it and put it in the bucket of the tractor and haul it out here and dump it so I could lift this thing out of his truck. Now there's one more thing. By the way, there's the front bumper for the Dirty Dozen. It don't look like a bumper right now, does it? But it will when old Waylon gets done with it. Now this, my thought on this was to put some fins on it on one end to make it look like a bomb and maybe paint it army green or something. But let me done told you what about this thing. This is 2 feet in diameter, 4 feet long. The wall on that metal is 1.5 inches thick, and it's an air tank, and it pressurizes to 35,000 pounds per square inch. 35,000. Now, can you imagine the compressor that does that? Well, what it is, it says USS on it right there. That is a tank off submarine, and that's used to blast the water out of the ballast tank so they can rise, so the sub can rise up out of the water. And that holds a lot of pressure. And boy, that is all my tractor do to lift that thing. That dude is heavy. Now, oh, he brought me this chain here too. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I'll have to hang it up around here somewhere. Now let's go look at the real jewel, the crown jewel. When he told me he was bringing this, well, I forgot all about the other stuff. I got so excited about this. This that is a foghorn off a submarine, and that's going on the Dirty Dozen somewhere. He thought, because it hangs upside down with the trumpet end down, this goes up, and that's so the water will run out of it when they rise. And he thought he maybe should go right here in the front, but I kind of hate to cover up my grill, but that's solid brass, and with it all polished up, it might look pretty good hanging there. But if it's all polished up, it'll look good hanging anywhere. Yeah, solid brass. Such a deal. I'm excited about that. And I can't wait to get that thing all shined up. And he said he had it working. They took it apart and cleaned it up, and he said if it won't work, we'll just take a rubber hammer and hit the top of it. But yeah, when I get that going, y'all will hear it. So that's something else. So yeah, that brass foghorn, that's something else. But yeah, he said he got it working, and it's such a low rumble, you know, just boom, and he said it just vibrates stuff off the shelves. So I think that's about it, guys. I just y'all are good people, and I appreciate having you here, and you deserve to know what's been going on. And it's time I got back into making videos. So I appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. And Webb, thank you so much for your visit and for all the goodies. He says he's going to bring me those helicopter skis and a bunch more stuff. And I may have to go get those skis just so I don't have to take on a whole bunch more stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but anyway, very generous man. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I've got to put some insulation back in my door. This door was up during the fire. And I don't know, you probably can't see with the lights up there, but that electrical conduit is just sagging because of all the heat. And I went and got some insulation today. It's just had some foam panels in here, and I got to clean all this up, and I got some I can cut and put back in there, and because today you could feel the heat coming through that, and I'm running AC in here most of the time, so we can't have that. And I'm going to have to replace all the insulation in the ceiling. You can see it melted at all. Maybe you can see. And yeah, Noah helped me hang the lights today, so I don't have them wired in yet, but oh, we'll get to it. And as far as the Dojelac, well, there's only one thing to do. It's just fix it. Just make it better than it ever was, right? Okay, guys, that'll gonna do it for this time. I've got lots of projects coming up, and yeah, I need to get busy. So I gotta cut this camera off and get with it. I got a video to edit now. It's been a long time. I wonder if I remember how to do that. Well, we'll see. All right. Well, we'll catch you on the next one. And until I do, I sure do appreciate you.